In the city of Hangzhou, where willow trees bend over quiet canals and red lanterns line the narrow streets, there was once a scholar, Li Wei, known for his delicate brushwork. He spent his nights painting portraits that seemed almost alive. But after his father's death, Li Wei grew restless. He longed not just to paint the living, but to capture the souls of the departed. One rainy evening, he visited an abandoned temple outside the city. Inside, the air was heavy with the smell of damp stone and incense long extinguished. On the wall hung a faded scroll, "To see a ghost, paint with its tears." Li Wei laughed at the inscription, dismissing it as superstition, until a single drop of water slid down the scroll and landed on his brush. The first painting, that night, in his candlelit study, Li Wei began to paint. The drop of water mixed with his ink, and as he moved his brush, the figure of a young woman formed on the paper. Her eyes were sorrowful, her lips half open as if to speak. When the final stroke dried, the air turned cold, the candles flickered, and then she stepped out of the painting. "Woman softly, you have given me form." "Why?" Li Wei trembling. I only painted. I did not know." "Woman, my name is Mei. I died with no grave, no remembrance. Your brush has called me." From that night on, Mei returned whenever he painted. She sat beside him, watching, guiding his hand. Her presence was gentle, but her eyes carried endless sorrow. The obsession, Li Wei grew consumed. He painted more and more, capturing faces no one else could see. A soldier with arrows in his chest, a child clutching a broken toy, an old woman with empty eyes. Neighbors whispered that strange voices echoed from his house at night. His friends avoided him, frightened by the cold air that seeped from his windows. Yet Li Wei painted on, driven by Mei's soft whispers. "Greater than Mei, one more. Paint one more, and I will be whole." He obeyed, the final portrait. One stormy night, Mei stood before him, her form sharper than ever, her eyes almost alive. "Greater than Mei, paint me one last time. But this time, with your blood." Li Wei's hands shook. He cut his palm, letting drops fall into the ink. The brush moved on its own, guided by unseen force. Stroke by stroke, Mei's portrait grew, not sorrowful now, but smiling. As the last line dried, the scroll shimmered. Mei stepped out, fully formed, her skin warm, her breath real. She touched his cheek. Mei whispering, "Thank you, but every gift demands a price." Before Li Wei could answer, the painting behind him shifted. His own likeness appeared on the scroll, eyes wide with terror. He felt his body grow heavy, his breath stolen. Mei's hand slipped from his cheek as he was pulled backward, into the paper. The aftermath, when the storm ended, the neighbors entered his study. They found only a single scroll hanging on the wall. It showed a young scholar, painted with exquisite detail, his eyes filled with silent despair. Beside him stood a woman in white, smiling faintly. From that night onward, Li Wei's house remained cold. But sometimes, when the moon was bright and the rain tapped against the windows, passers-by swore they could hear the sound of a brush scratching paper, and to voices whispering softly. The mountain paths near Bizen were shrouded in mist, even though the night sky above was clear. A pale moon hung like a blade, cutting shadows across the ridges. Somewhere deep among the peaks, an old bell tower stood, long abandoned, its sound said to call not the living, but the dead. Ji-woo, a young monk in training, had heard the stories whispered among villagers. Never climb the mountain at midnight. The bell rings for souls, not for men, yet curiosity gnawed at him. His master forbade him to go, but Ji-woo's heart burned with questions. So, one cold night, with only a lantern and his prayer beads, he followed the winding stone steps into the mist, the ascent. The forest groaned as if alive, branches scraped against one another, and owls hooted from hidden perches. The further Ji-woo climbed, the quieter the world became, until even his footsteps seemed too loud. When the bell tower finally appeared, it was darker than the night around it. Its wooden beams were blackened with age, and vines strangled its base. The great bronze bell hung silent, its surface etched with cracks and strange patterns that looked more like scars than carvings. Ji-woo stepped closer, his lantern trembling in his hand. Ji-woo whispering, "So it is true, the bell still stands." The first ring. As midnight drew near, the air shifted. The mist thickened until the moon itself was swallowed. Ji-woo felt his breath shorten, and the prayer beads in his hand grew cold. Then, without wind, without touch, the bell rang, dong. The sound was not loud, but it sank deep into the bones, echoing through his chest. With it came whispers, faint at first, like the rustle of dead leaves, then clearer, greater than voice whispering, "Ji-woo." Ji-woo startled, "Who's there?" From the mist, shapes began to form. Shadows of people, their faces blurred, drifting toward the bell tower. Men in old armor, women in mourning clothes, children clutching dolls with missing faces. Ji-woo's knees trembled. He knew now. The bell called the forgotten dead. The keeper of the bell. Among the phantoms, one figure stepped forward, more solid than the rest. A tall man in dark robes, his face hidden beneath a wide straw hat. In his hand was a staff of iron. "Greater than man, why have you come, boy monk?" Ji-woo gathering courage. I wanted to know if the stories were true." Man low voice, "Truth is a dangerous hunger. This bell does not sing for the curious. It sings for those who are bound." The man lifted his hand toward the bell, and Ji-woo saw chains, faint, spectral, binding it in place. "Man, each ring frees one soul, yet claims another to take its place. That is the law." Ji-woo's heart pounded, greater than Ji-woo. Then, "Why does it still ring?" Man turning toward him, "Because someone must keep feeding it." The choice. The whispers grew louder. Faces of the dead turned to Ji-woo, hollow eyes staring. Among them, he suddenly saw his mother's face, pale, sorrowful, reaching out to him. Mother's voice softly, "Ji-woo, help me, free me." Tears filled his eyes. Greater than Ji-woo, "Mother, you died when I was a child." Mother pleading, "Ring the bell. My son, let me go." Ji-woo turned to the keeper. Greater than Ji-woo desperate, "If I ring it, she will be free." Keeper, "Yes, but another must wear her chain." The young monk froze, staring at the bell, at the faces, at the endless mist. If he rang it, his mother's soul would find peace, but his own might be bound in her place. The final toll. Ji-woo closed his eyes. He lifted the wooden mallet that lay at the base of the tower. Ji-woo whispering, "If one must stay, let it be me." The keeper watched in silence as Ji-woo struck the bell, "Doom." The sound thundered through the mountains, shaking the mist apart. His mother's face brightened, fading into light, her voice carried away on the wind. Mother whispering, "Thank you, my son." but Jiwoo felt the chains coil around his arms, his chest, his throat. He dropped the lantern, which shattered on the stones. His body grew heavy. The last thing he saw was the keeper lowering his head, almost in respect. "Keeper softly, another soul for the bell." And when dawn rose, the mountain was quiet once more. The villagers say the bell still rings at midnight. Some claim, if you listen closely, you can hear a young monk's voice among the whispers, praying softly for the souls of the lost.